Hey everyone, my name is Hal. This is Quail Studios Guitar. That's what you've made it to. I'm playing the piano today. A week ago or something like that, I did a video on how to play your song on the guitar. But today we're going to talk about the chord progression. We're going to talk about a little bit of the theory behind it and that kind of thing. It's easier for me to do this on the piano. Now I just played the introduction and I didn't play it exactly the way Elton John always does it, because he plays it in concert a little differently than he did on the original recording, and he does it a little differently every time. That's because he's improvising. And improvisation is part of what actually we did back in the 70s. It's just part of what happens in the 60s too. In fact, there were extended periods of improvisation in many concerts that I went to back in the 70s. Now let's look at these. That's an E flat chord. All right. I'm not going to teach you how to play it on the piano. There's other videos out there that'll do that for you. But this is an E flat chord. I'm playing the E flats in the bass. I'm playing an inversion, right? G, B flat, E flat, G, and then an A flat with the E flat in the bass, and then a B flat with an E flat in the bass. And that's a first inversion chord. And then it goes to A flat again with the E flat in the bass. Right? And that's a first inversion chord also. Now that sounds really good. It sounds a lot like what Elton John is doing. Oops, missed a note. So the E flat is the one chord, or the first chord in the scale. The A flat is 4. The B flat is 5. So I've got the one chord here, the 4 chord over the E flat, the B flat, which is the 5 chord, and then the 1 chord, the 4 chord again. Going to the 1 chord, it's a little bit funny. And he's singing the G right there, which is actually the 7th, the major 7th of the chord. Funny. So it's kind of jazzy there. It's a little bit funny. Now, if I've ever said this before, when your bass note rises a perfect 4th or goes down a perfect 5th, that's a very strong sound. It's a very strong progression. If you wanted to write some music that had strong chord progressions in it, like if it was a battle or something, or you're running and you want to be all pumped up, you don't do soft chord progressions or weak chord progressions. Soft and weak are the same thing, basically. But you want to do strong chord progressions, and so that's what this is. It's a little bit funny. And then we go to a 5 chord, but it's really interesting because he does a 5 chord in first inversion, and his D is in the bass. So it goes from an A flat. See that? That's a dissonant interval right there. It's a tritone. And so he's going, funny, this feeling inside, G minor 7. Yeah, that's right. Which is a D to G is a perfect 5th rising. So that's a strong, progression right there. But we are going down. If you look at the root progression, it goes from 5 to 3, minor 3, right? Major 5, minor 3, which is interesting. But the bass, when it goes D to G, and you've got that strong perfect 4th going up, it sounds stronger than the weak 5 to 3, like that. Okay, and then from that G minor 7, we go to C minor, which is a perfect 5th. Let's see. I went up a perfect 4th. When you go up a perfect 4th, if you invert it, you go down a perfect 5th. So up a perfect 4th, down a perfect 5th, or up a perfect 4th. Did I say this right? Up a perfect 5th, down a perfect 4th. Okay. So anyway, it goes from G minor 7 to C minor. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. Right? C minor with a B flat bass, C minor with an A bass, C minor with an A flat flat bass, which is really interesting because when you do the C minor with an A flat bass, when I do the C minor in root position, it's actually an A flat major 7 chord, right? It's the same thing as it's a little bit funny, right? It's the same chord. Really interesting. Okay, so we're got the C minor with an A flat, or actually it's an A flat major 7. And then we go to a 1 chord, which is the E flat with a, I am wrong. We go to a 1 chord, yes, E flat, but with a B flat bass. I don't have much money, right there. Now, right there, that is such a traditional chord progression, right? Like that. That's like a 1, 6, 4, 5 to 1. I don't have much money, but whoa, we got a G7, either a G with a B bass or a G7 with a B bass. Boy, if I did. Now that G with a B flat, with a B bass, excuse me, that's a 5 of C minor. So it's a secondary dominant. Boy, if I did. And that's the 6th chord in E flat, and then we go back to 1. I'd buy a big house where A flat we both could live. Now this is a very weak chord progression, but what is this song? It's really a love song, isn't it? You know, it's about liking somebody, loving somebody, I think. And it's about, and a love song isn't bold chord progressions. A lot of times it's soft chord progressions. So this 1 chord going to a 2, minor 2, and then going to a 4, major 4, to a 5, which is a major chord also. That is a very soft chord progression. And if you play it like this, right? Then you have parallel fifths and parallel octaves all over the place. So it's really crazy. The only way you can pull this off is in the 20th century or the 21st century where we are now. But you couldn't do this, 200 years ago because that was totally unacceptable. You'd have to play it differently. You'd have to do different voicing. I'd buy a big house where we both could, play it like that. Let's see, where could I go here? If I was a sculptor. And then we go back and we do the next verse, which is the same thing. So these chord progressions are wonderful. They really are. How many chords have we had so far? We got E flat, A flat, B flat. There's 3 chords. G minor, 4 chords. C minor, 5 chords. G7, 6 chords. Well, and if you count all the C minors with the different bass notes, like that, then you get more chords there, right? It's great. What do we get in the chorus? Let's skip over the 2nd verse and go to the chorus. And you can tell everybody. So you've got a 5 chord in first inversion with a D in the bass, and B flat with a D in the bass. You can tell everybody. C minor going to F minor. There's a new chord we haven't heard before. Oh wait, we did. I'd buy a big house where, so it's the same chord, I'm sorry. So we did have an F minor in the verse. Let's see. And you can tell everybody, F minor, that's a 2 chord. This is your song. From F minor, that's really a weak chord progression. It works and everything. It's just very soft because you have F, A flat, C, and you have A flat, C, E flat. So it doesn't really change the harmonics too much. And then it goes back to B with a, ooh. There's that tritone again, from that A flat chord with the A flat in the bass to the B flat with a D in the bass. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words Now this is a different chord progression than in the verse, because in the verse we did C minor with a B flat bass, C minor with an A bass, A flat major 7. Right? In the chorus, we're doing C minor with a B flat bass, C minor with an A bass, to F minor with an A flat bass, which is a 2 chord with an A flat in the bass. How wonderful. Okay, here's the words. How wonderful life is while you're in the world. Yeah, it's a love song, for sure. So we've got this F minor with an A flat bass. So the bass goes down a half step to E flat with a G bass. 1 chord in first inversion. Back to A flat. Life is, okay, 4 chord. While you're in the world. F minor 7. While you're in the world. 5 chord. B flat. And then we do the B sus4 to B. Right? He does that at the end of every verse, like the E flat. Let's see, B flat. At the end of the second verse, he goes E flat, sus4, E flat. At least that's what I do. You know, honestly, I don't know if he does that or not, but I love to do that. It sounds wonderful. So that's the 5 chord, and because we're on the 5 chord, you know that we're not done, and we go back to the 1 chord in the next verse. I sat on the roof. Okay, and we go through that whole chord progression again, which is wonderful. I love it. Got 2 more verses, got another chorus, and then with that, there's another half of a chorus that we go to. So we're on that chorus. Let's do the last chorus. And you can tell everybody this is your song, A flat. And then going down to that B flat with a D bass. It may be quite simple, but F minor. Now that we're done, now that's done. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words wrong chord. How wonderful life is while you're in the world. And then it goes back to the I hope you don't mind part, because what it is, it's a 5 chord with a sus4. I went back to B flat again, which is the 5 chord, up to C minor, which is what we would call a deceptive cadence, going from B flat, instead of B flat, down to E flat. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind. He does that little melody switch that I put down in words, same chords. How wonderful life is while you're in the world. And then right there at the end, he does like bookends. He does the intro part for the outro, right? Something like this. And then I just do a roll. And there you go. Ah, it's such a nice song. I hope you enjoyed this, because these are wonderful, wonderful chord progressions that we get in some of these older songs. You know, I kind of lost interest in Elton John. You know, I listened to Caribou and I'm like, Caribou is the album he came out with after Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Everything up to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road I was thrilled with. But at Caribou, it just went, to me. Bernie Taupin, I'm not sure when Bernie Taupin left Elton John. He came back later. But I don't know if they had a falling out or if Elton John just decided to use a different lyricist or whatever. But Caribou and onward is like, and I just stopped following Elton John after that. And he was getting kind of weird for me. So that's just the way it was. So, but I love early Elton John. I really do. I think he's great. All right, that's all I have to say about that. I do have a Patreon page, and I want to let you know that for anybody who signs up right now at Patreon during the month of August 2019, we can do, where's my phone? Tell you what, for anyone that signs up at the $2 level or above, we can do Marco Polo, and I will talk with you on Marco Polo and help you, or just answer questions, or just hang out for a minute back and forth. So I'll give everybody my number on that, and if you're a former patron, I'm going to let you come on. If you are a current patron right now, as of August, what is today? The August 3rd? August 3rd. If you're a current patron right now, today. Now I know this video isn't going to come out for a day or two, so it's going to be later, but I want to let you know that you can get on Marco Polo with me also. And until I get overwhelmed. And sometimes people are like, nah, it's okay, I don't really want to do that. So just take your chances and see if you can connect with me. All right, thanks a lot for being here. We'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.